This video was brought to you by my neighbors at American Liquor Company, who asked me to make a dish that was inspired by and used their blended vodka. So here we go. Drunken chicken is a Shanghainese dish that is normally served cold and as an appetizer. To make it, you have to chop up a chicken into bite-sized pieces that you can pick up with chopsticks, or you can debone some leg quarters like I did. After deboning, you have to roll them up pretty tightly. I decided to dust mine with some 5-spice before doing so. To get a nice clean shape, I employed a technique called roulade, which uses Saran Wrap and the force of pressure to get your chickens into a uniform tube shape. You don't have to do it this way, I just did it for aesthetics. You can also use tinfoil to help it keep its shape. And if you do that, that opens you up to being able to actually steam the rolls of your chicken. Steaming is actually how the chicken is traditionally cooked. Because I use a roulade, I was open to using more delicate types of cooking, so I sous vide my chicken for 149 degrees for 2 hours. The reason why this dish is called drunken chicken is because the chicken, after it's been cooked, is soaked in a marinade of Shaoxing wine, a little bit of salt, chicken broth, and spices. Shaoxing wine has a very specific taste, like alcohol and umami, and a little bit of sherry thrown in. Since I was replacing that with a smooth vodka, I knew that my options as far as flavor infusions would open up. So I spiced up the vodka with some cloves, ginger, star anise, goji berries, and a little bit of soy sauce. I let the spices marinate in the vodka for about an hour, and then I topped it off with some chicken broth. After your chicken has been cooked, all you do is marinate it in the boozy broth and put it in the fridge for 24 hours. Serving at colder room temperature, the taste is kind of salty, almost like a really delicate and complex cold cut that also has the taste of alcohol. I wanted to do this dish to highlight this vodka and this company, because I was very intrigued by the fact that this company takes vodkas from all over the Midwest, including a favorite one from mine locally, to craft a blended vodka that was super smooth. It made me think about how consideration for all the smaller parts of something, all the ingredients of something, or the processes of something can create an overall better experience. And understanding that each separate part has its own role to play in the context of the sum of its parts, the whole. Just like each separate vodka contributes to the blend, the starter course operates within the greater context of a meal. And I really think this dish, this drunken chicken, does a really good job in personifying what it means to be a starter course. It's tasty, it's light, it's a little bit unusual, but it's definitely not a main event. It's a dish that makes you wonder what's coming up next. It's a dish that doesn't distract too much from a conversation that might just be starting at the table. It's a dish that if that's the only thing you're eating, it might actually leave you a little bit unsatisfied, maybe still hungry. But in the context of the whole meal, it does a really good job in elevating the entire experience altogether. The next time you craft a multi-course meal, I invite you to consider what a starter course should actually be. The starter course is humble and powerful and widely underrated. And actually, I'm glad to have had the opportunity to share a dish like this with you. On the internet, creators, myself included, are always trying to push these dramatic or show-stopping dishes because the drama is what drives the attention and the drama is what drives the views. And while those things are important, I also think it's important to include the courses and the dishes that are good and are decent, but they also have the function of making the entire dinner an excellent one. Not everything can be a showstopper. Not everything should be a showstopper, because if that was the case, we'd never get to the fucking point. I remember talking to my stand-up comedian friends who would say that nobody wants to go first unless you really want to go first. The start of a set sets the tone for the entire evening, and that puts a lot of pressure on anything or anyone that's going to go first. Getting your expectations up to a good place and keeping it there is a lot easier than bringing it up from the depths of disappointment, and I totally believe that applies to making a really nice meal.